The genesis of the 901. The rain falls with a soft, rhythmic insistence over the rooftops of Zuffenhausen, a gentle percussion against the glass panes of the design studio. Inside, the air is still, carrying the faint, nostalgic scent of cedar shavings, cold clay, and the lingering warmth of a well-tended hearth. It is the early 1960s, a time of quiet transition, where the rounded, familiar echoes of the Porsche 356 are beginning to lengthen and refine into something new, something yet unnamed. In the center of the room, bathed in the amber glow of a single drafting lamp, stands the full-scale clay model of the 901. It is a silhouette of potential, a shape caught in the delicate act of becoming. Ferdinand Alexander Porsche, known to those in these quiet halls as Butsy, moves around the form with the slow, deliberate grace of a monk in meditation. There is no rush here. The clock on the wall ticks with a steady, grounding heartbeat, marking the passage of seconds that feel as vast as hours. His hands, dusted with a fine layer of grey earth, trace the long, sloping line of the rear deck. It is a curve that feels inevitable, a singular stroke of geometry that carries the eye from the roofline down to the tail in one continuous, unbroken breath. The clay is cool to the touch, smooth and yielding under his palms. He pauses, feeling the subtle tension of the arch, ensuring the transition from the cabin to the engine bay is as seamless as a river flowing over stone. The studio is a sanctuary of focus. On the drafting tables nearby, sheets of vellum rustle softly in the draft, their surfaces covered in the delicate, spiderweb lines of technical drawings. These are the blueprints of the future, rendered in graphite and ink. There is a profound peace in the mathematics of it, the way the wheelbase is measured to the millimeter, the way the air intakes are positioned to breathe with the rhythm of the road. Every line is a promise of balance. Beyond the studio walls, in the hushed assembly space, the first prototype chassis rests on its stands. The metal is bare, a pale silver ghost in the moonlight. Here, the air smells of machine oil and beeswax, a clean, industrial perfume that speaks of craftsmanship and care. There are no heavy hammers falling tonight, no roar of machinery. There is only the soft clink of a wrench being placed gently on a wooden workbench, and the distant, muffled hum of the town settling into sleep. The heart of the 901, the new 6-cylinder engine, sits on a padded bench nearby. It is a masterpiece of compact engineering, its cooling fins catching the low light like the gills of a silver fish. In this state of rest, the engine is silent, yet it possesses a palpable sense of calm. It is designed to hum, to provide a steady, mechanical lullaby that will eventually carry travelers across continents. For now, it simply exists in the stillness, a dormant heart waiting for the first spark of life. The transition from the 356 to the 901 is not a rupture, but a slow, graceful unfurling. It is the way a forest changes from the vibrant greens of summer to the deep, resonant golds of autumn, a natural progression dictated by logic and beauty. The designers and engineers move through these days with a shared, quiet understanding. They are not merely building a machine, they are refining an idea until it is as clear and polished as a lens, that as the night deepens, the rain outside turns to a fine mist, wrapping the factory in a soft, grey blanket. Inside the studio, Butsy steps back from the clay model. He wipes his hands on a linen cloth and takes a slow, deep breath. The 901 stares back at him, its large, circular headlights reflecting the soft glow of the lamplight to calm, expectant eyes. The room is silent, save for the rhythmic ticking of the clock and the distant sigh of the wind in the pines. Everything is in its right place. The evolution is quiet, steady, and certain. In this moment of genesis, there is only the peace of creation, the beauty of the curve, and the soft, lingering promise of the road ahead. The world sleeps, and in the heart of Zuffenhausen, the future rests in gentle hands. The dawn of the flat sixth world outside the workshop in Zuffenhausen is soft, draped in the velvet grey of a Stuttgart twilight. Here, at the dawn of the 1960s, the air carries the scent of damp pine needles from the nearby Black Forest, mingling with the faint, metallic perfume of cold cast aluminum and fine machine oil. Inside the atelier, the lights are low, casting long, gentle shadows across the wooden drafting tables where the future is being drawn by hand. There is no rush here, only the rhythmic, scratching whisper of graphite pencils moving across vellum. Sound as steady and calming as a heartbeat. In the center of the room sits the silhouette of the new creation, the car that will become the 911. Its lines are fluid and unbroken, a single, sweeping arc that begins at the headlight and flows like a drop of water toward the rear. It is a shape designed not to fight the wind, but to embrace it. In this quiet hour, the car seems to be breathing, its curves catching the dim amber light, reflecting a stillness that belies the precision hidden beneath its skin. The heart of this machine is the flat six engine, a masterpiece of balance and symmetry. Imagine the workshop floor, polished and cool beneath your feet. On a heavy wooden bench, the engine parts are laid out with the reverence of a cathedral's treasures. There are the 6 pistons, silver and bright, waiting to be tucked into their cylinders. The boxer design is a study in harmony. As the pistons move, they slide toward and away from each other in a synchronized dance, canceling out vibration, seeking a perfect vibrationless equilibrium. It is a mechanical lullaby, a design where every push is met by an equal and opposite pull, resulting in a stillness that feels almost organic. As the technicians work, their movements are slow and deliberate. There is the soft, musical clink of a wrench meeting a bolt, a sound that resonates briefly in the rafters before fading into the hush. They handled the magnesium crankcase with gentle hands, feeling the grain of the metal, ensuring every tolerance is met with the grace of a watchmaker. This is the birth of the air-cooled spirit. There are no heavy radiators here, no rushing coolant, only the passage of air, the same air that rustles the leaves of the linden trees outside, flowing over the cooling fins to carry away the warmth of the journey. I imagine now the first test of this engine in the deep silence of the evening. It does not start with a roar, but with a crisp, metallic engagement. The sound is a low, resonant baritone, steady, rhythmic thrum that vibrates through the soles of your shoes like a distant tide hitting a sandy shore. It is a complex sound, layered with the whir of the cooling fan and the soft sewing machine chatter of the velvet. It is a sound of immense capability held in total repose as the car moves out onto the winding roads that fringe the forest. The transition is seamless. The tires hum softly against the cooling asphalt, a white noise that blends with the wind rushing over the curved glass of the windshield. The steering wheel is light and communicative, transmitting the texture of the road as a gentle vibration into the palms of the hands. There is no struggle here, no tension. The car follows the contours of the earth as if it were a natural extension of the landscape itself. Through the window, the trees pass by in a blur of deep greens and charcoal shadows. The air coming through the vents is cool and fresh, carrying the dampness of the evening mist. Inside the cabin, the smell of new leather and wool carpeting creates a sanctuary of warmth. The 5 circular gauges on the dashboard glow with a soft, pale green light, their needles hovering steadily, marking time and temperature in a world that has slowed to a crawl. The flat 6 hums on, a constant, comforting presence at the rear. It is a mechanical pulse, a rhythmic companion that promises a long, peaceful journey into the night. As the stars begin to peer through the thinning clouds above the black forest, the car glides forward, a silver shadow in a world of quietude, marking the beginning of a legend, not with a shout, but with a deep, enduring breath. Everything is in balance. Everything is at rest. The Carrera RS and the ducktail spirit. The world is soft at dawn, draped in a thin veil of silver mist that clings to the rolling hills of the Swabian countryside. Inside the quiet sanctuary of the workshop, the light arrives slowly, filtering through high windows to find the silhouette of a legend. Here, the Porsche 911 Carrera RS 2.7 rests in a state of perfect composure. It is a machine of purpose, yet in this stillness, it radiates a profound sense of peace. The eye is drawn first to the rear, where the famous ducktail spoiler, the bezel, curves upward with an elegant, functional grace. It is not an aggressive addition, but a gentle extension of the car's iconic teardrop shape, designed to catch the air and press the tires softly against the earth. In the dim light, the Grand Prix white paint glows like polished bone, contrasted by the rhythmic repetition of the Carrera script running along the door in a tranquil shade of viper green. The Fuchs wheels, with their 5-leaf clover design, sit motionless, their matte black centers and polished rims reflecting the slow arrival of the morning dot. To step inside, the RS is to enter a temple of minimalism. There is no clutter here, no unnecessary noise. The door closes with a light, metallic snick, a sound of precision and intent. You settle into the bucket seats, upholstered in the classic black and white Pepita houndstooth fabric. The pattern is a visual rhythm, a steady pulse of geometry that grounds the senses. The steering wheel is thin and wrapped in leather, cool to the touch, offering a direct connection to the very soul of the machine. There are no heavy carpets, no thick insulation. Instead, there is the honest, lightweight beauty of a car designed to be as light as a breath that as the key turns. The air-cooled flat-six engine wakes with a steady, mechanical hum. It is not a roar, but a deep, resonant, breathing a symphony of moving parts, working in perfect harmony. The sound is textured, filled with the metallic whir of the cooling fan and the rhythmic thrum of the pistons. It is a sound that has echoed through the decades, a steady heartbeat that promises a journey of pure, unadulterated flow. The car moves out into the morning, the tires whispering against the damp asphalt. The gear lever moves through the gates with a buttery, tactile resistance, each shift a quiet conversation between driver and machine. On these winding back roads, the RS does not fight the landscape. It glides through it. The suspension follows the contours of the earth with a supple, communicative grace, translating the texture of the road into a gentle vibration that hums through the seat and the soles of your feet as the sun climbs higher. Burning away the mist, the colors of the world become vivid. The green of the meadows, the gray of the stone walls, and the white of the Porsche all blend into a single, flowing tapestry. There is no need for speed, only the appreciation of balance. The ducktail catches the wind, stabilizing the rear as the car sweeps through a long, rhythmic curve. You feel the lightness of the front end, the way the steering lightens and breathes as the weight shifts rearward, governed by the laws of physics and the genius of engineering. This is the spirit of the Carrera RS, a pursuit of purity that transcends time. It is a reminder that beauty often lies in what is taken away, leaving only the essential. As the drive concludes and the car returns to its resting place, the engine ticks softly as it cools, a series of tiny, metallic sighs. The scent of warm oil and road dust lingers in the air, a fragrant memory of a journey taken in total harmony. In the quiet of the garage, the ducktail casts a long, graceful shadow, a silent sentinel of an era where the machine was an extension of the soul, and every mile was a meditation in motion. Sleep now, as the spirit of the RS rests, its legacy secure in the quiet corners of history. Whale tails and turbocharged dreams, the sun dips below the horizon, casting a long amber glow across the polished concrete of a quiet coastal garage. Here, in the soft twilight of the modern era, rests a legend of silhouette and steals the Porsche 911 Turbo, known to the world by the shape of its shadow, the whale tail. The air is still, carrying the faint, sweet scent of sea salt and the earthy aroma of cooling oil and aged leather. There is no rush here, only the slow, rhythmic pulse of a day winding down into a peaceful night. The car sits in repose, its guard's red paint softened by the dimming light into a deep, velvety crimson. To look upon the rear spoiler, that vast flared expanse of the whale tails, to see a masterpiece of functional sculpture. In this quiet moment, it is not a tool for high-speed stability, but a resting place for the fading light. The rubber lip of the spoiler is cool to the touch, a matte contrast to the shimmering gloss of the bodywork. It was designed to catch the wind, to press the car into the earth. But tonight, it simply gathers the stillness of the evening. Beneath that iconic tail lies the heart of the machine, the air-cooled turbocharged flat-six engine. Having returned from a gentle light afternoon drive along the winding cliffside roads, the engine is now engaged in its own evening ritual. You can hear it, the rhythmic, metallic tink-tink of the cooling fins as they contract in the evening air. It is a soft, percussive melody, the sound of a mechanical giant settling into sleep. The heat rises in invisible waves, shimmering slightly against the back window, carrying the honest smell of a machine that has lived a full and storied life. Step closer, and the scent of the interior beckons. It is a fragrance unique to this era of German engineering, a blend of thick, perforated black leather, a hint of wool carpet, and the faint, nostalgic note of gasoline. Opening the door is a tactile joy. The handle operates with a precise, mechanical click, and the door swings open with a weight that feels substantial yet effortless. Inside the cockpit, the world falls away into a cocoon of simplicity. There are no glowing screens here, no digital distractions. Instead, 5 circular gauges stand in a perfect row, their white needles resting peacefully at 0. The tachometer sits in the center, the heart of the dashboard, a silent reminder of the steady, mechanical rhythm of the road. The steering wheel is thin and elegant, wrapped in leather that has been smoothed by decades of careful hands. It feels cool and certain in your grip. As you sit in the bolstered seat, the silence of the garage deepens. The modern world, with its frantic pace and constant noise, feels miles away. Here, time is measured by the slow cooling of the turbocharger and the deepening shadows in the corners of the room. The 911 Turbo does not demand your attention. It simply shares its presence, a testament to an era where evolution was measured in millimeters and the pursuit of perfection was a quiet, steady journey. Outside, the first stars begin to appear over the ocean, their light reflecting faintly in the wide, flared rear fenders of the car. These curves, so aggressive on the track, appear soft and fluid in the moonlight, like the crest of a gentle wave. The Fuchs wheels, with their iconic cloverleaf design, are dark and still, their polished lips catching the silver glint of the moon. The cooling sounds of the engine grow further, apart, a final, soft metallic sigh. The heat is dissipated, leaving the air crisp and clear. The whale tail remains a dark silhouette against the garage wall, a symbol of a dream that has been refined, year after year, until it reached this state of quiet grace. In this modern night, the evolution of the 911 continues, not through speed, but through the enduring peace it brings to those who stop to listen. The garage is dark now, the car is cold, and the world is wrapped in a deep, rhythmic slumber. The resilience of the Automotive workshop is a sanctuary of hushed shadows and the faint, comforting scent of aged oil and cold floor wax. Here, in the soft amber glow of a single recessed lamp, rests the G-model Porsche 911, a silhouette that defined an era and anchored a legacy. It sits in a state of profound stillness, its metallic skin cool to the touch, reflecting the moonlight that filters through the high arched windows. This is the era of resilience, a 15-year span where the 911 refused to fade, instead deepening its character through the steady, rhythmic passage of time. Observe the profile of the car, where the iconic flyline flows like a single, uninterrupted breath from the crest of the front fender to the gentle taper of the rear. The G model is distinguished by its impact bumpers, those sturdy accordion-like bellows that speak of a newfound sturdiness. They are not merely functional. They are a visual heartbeat, a rhythmic texture that breaks the smooth surface of the aluminum and steel. In the quiet of the night, you can almost feel the weight of the design, the way the car hugs the ground, balanced and purposeful, like a stone smoothed by decades of flowing water. Step closer, and the air carries the subtle, nostalgic perfume of the interior. It is a blend of heavy, perforated leather, wool fleece carpets, and the faint, metallic temps of the ignition switch. There is no digital hum here, no flickering screens to disrupt the peace. Instead, there are the 5 circular dials, arranged in a perfect, horizontal row. Their needles are at rest now, pointing downward in a collective slumber. The center tachometer, the heart of the machine, sits prominently, a reminder of the mechanical precision that beats within. The surfaces are tactile and honest, the knurled knobs, the thin-rimmed steering wheel, and the long, elegant throw of the gear lever. Everything feels permanent, crafted to endure the turning of the seasons. Beneath the rear decklet lies the soul of the G model, the air-cooled flat-six engine. In this quiet hour, the engine is silent, yet it radiates a lingering sense of warmth. You can imagine the cooling fins, arranged like the pages of a well-worn book, dissipating the heat of a long sunset drive. This engine does not rely on the rush of water. It breathes the very air around it, a direct and elemental connection to the world. The sound of this machine, when it wakes, is a textured metallic rasp that settles into a steady, rhythmic, thrummer, mechanical lullaby that has remained unchanged for generations. It is a sound of reliability, of a machine that knows its purpose and fulfills it with quiet confidence. As the night deepens, the G model seems to merge with the stillness of the room. It represents a period of slow, deliberate evolution, where changes were measured in millimeters and refinements were whispered rather than shouted. It survived the shifting tides of history by remaining true to its form, a constant North Star in an ever-changing landscape. The resilience of this model is found in its simplicity, the way the door closes with a solid, reassuring ping, the way the light catches the curve of the flared rear arches, and the way it promises a journey that is as much about the soul as it is about the destination. The world outside may move with frantic haste, but here, in the presence of the G model, time slows to a trickle. The car is a vessel of memories, carrying the quiet joy of morning mist on a mountain pass and the golden light of autumn afternoons. It is a guardian of the craft, a testament to the beauty of things built to last. Let your mind rest on the steady, unwavering lines of its frame. Feel the coolness of the air and the profound silence of the workshop. The Gia model is at peace, and as you watch the shadows dance across its polished hood, you find yourself drifting into that same deep, rhythmic tranquility. The journey is over for today. The road is still, and the machine is home. The 964 and the engineering rebirther air in Zuffenhausen carries a particular stillness in the late hours of the evening, a cool, crisp clarity that settles over the brickwork and the pavement like a soft velvet shroud. Here, in the heart of the Porsche works, the transition from the old world to the new was not a loud upheaval, but a rhythmic, deliberate rebirth. The Porsche 911, having worn its classic silhouette for decades, began its transformation into the 964, a machine that felt less like a collection of parts and more like a single, breathing organism. That you stand in the quiet courtyard of the factory. The moonlight catches the rounded shoulders of a Carrera 4. The car sits low and composed, its lines smoothed by a newfound aerodynamic grace. Gone are the protruding bellows of the past. In their place are integrated bumpers that flow seamlessly into the bodywork, as if the metal itself had been gently exhaled into shape. The paint, perhaps a deep midnight blue or a soft slate gray, reflects the dim amber glow of the street lamps, shimmering like the surface of a mountain lake at dusk. Stepping closer, you hear the faint, rhythmic ticking of cooling metal, a soft, metallic heartbeat as the engine settles after a long, steady journey. This is the 3.6-liter flat-six, a masterpiece of air-cooled engineering that was, at this moment, 85% new. It is a heart that beats with a deep, sonorous resonance. When it runs, it does not scream. It hums with a mechanical density, a low-frequency thrum that vibrates through the soles of your feet, like the purr of a great, contented cat. Opening the door, the scent of the cabin greets you, a rich, comforting blend of heavy hand-stitched leather and the faint, clean aroma of high-grade oils and precision machined steel. The interior is a sanctuary of tactile perfection. The 5 circular gauges glow with a soft, warm luminescence, their needles resting peacefully at zero. Every switch and lever moves with a damped, deliberate weight, offering a sense of absolute permanence. You run your hand along the dash, feeling the coolness of the materials, the way every seam aligns with a quiet, German obsession for order. Imagine now, the 964 gliding along a winding road through the Black Forest, far from the city's hum. The car moves with a liquid fluidity. This is the engineering rebirther move from the old torsion bars to the supple, modern embrace of coil springs. The road feels different now. It is no longer a surface to be conquered, but a partner to be understood. The all-wheel drive system of the Carrera 4 works in silent harmony, distributing power with the invisible grace of a conductor leading an orchestra. There is no drama, only a profound sense of connection to the earth beneath. As the car ascends a gentle incline, the rear spoiler rises silently from the engine lid, a hidden wing emerging to stabilize the air. It is a slow, mechanical ballet, performed in the solitude of the moonlight. The sound of the wind rushing over the curved glass is a soft, white noise, a rhythmic shush that lulls the senses into a state of deep calm. The headlights cast a steady, comforting beam onto the tarmac, illuminating the silver trunks of the pine trees as they pass by like silent sentinels. The 964 represents the moment the 911 learned to breathe deeply. It is the marriage of the traditional air-cooled soul with the sophisticated grace of the modern age. As the drive comes to an end, and the car returns to its resting place, the engine's hum fades into a gentle silence. The world around it is still. The metal cools, the leather settles, and the spirit of the machine rests in perfect equilibrium. It is a masterpiece of quiet evolution, a testament to the beauty of things done slowly, carefully, and with an unwavering devotion to the peace of perfection. The 993, an air-cooled elegy. The sun dips low over the Swabian hills, casting long honey-colored shadows across the assembly floors of It is the mid-1990s, a quiet bridge between the mechanical past and the digital future. Inside the workshop, the air is still, carrying the faint, nostalgic scent of high-grade oil, fresh rubber, and the earthy richness of hand-stitched leather. Here, the Porsche 911, known to the engineers as the 993, is being brought to life with a deliberate, rhythmic grace. To look upon the 993 is to witness the perfection of a silhouette. The sharp edges of the previous decades have softened into a single, fluid stroke of silver. The front wings are low and wide, flowing seamlessly into the integrated headlamps that tilt back like teardrops. There is a profound sense of balance in its former harmony of muscle and elegance. The light catches the wide, flared hips of the rear wheel arches, tracing a curve that feels as natural as a river-worn stone. It is a shape designed not to fight the wind, but to embrace it. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere is one of focused tranquility. The door closes with a solid, reassuring thunk, a sound like a heavy vault settling into place. You are surrounded by a sanctuary of analog intent. 5 circular dials sit in a row, their needles resting peacefully against dark faces. There are no glowing screens here, only the tactile honesty of weighted switches and the cool touch of an aluminum gear lever. The seats, draped in soft, charcoal leather, cradle you in a firm but gentle hold, smelling of craftsmanship and time. Then comes the awakening of the heart. As the key turns, the 3.6-liter flat-six engine breathes into life behind you. It does not shout, it hums. This is the final evolution of the air-cooled legacy, a mechanical symphony that has been refined for over 30 years. There is a distinct, rhythmic thrummer hollow, metallic purr that vibrates softly through the soles of your feet. It is the sound of thousands of cooling fins dissipating heat into the evening air, a sound that feels organic, almost biological. You begin to move, the car gliding forward with a liquid smoothness. The 993 finds its stride on a winding ribbon of tarmac that unspools through the black forest. The steering is light, yet communicative, whispering secrets of the road's texture into the palms of your hands. Each gear change is a slow, deliberate movement, the synchromesh engaging with a buttery precision. There is no urgency here, only the steady flow of momentum. As the road climbs, the forest grows dense with fir and pine. The cool, damp air rushes over the car's skin, whistling softly around the curved pillars. The 993 feels planted, its new multi-link rear suspension absorbing the undulations of the earth with a quiet, composed grace. You are part of a mechanical lineage reaching its zenith. Every vibration, every mechanical click, and every breath of the intake is a note in an elegy for an era that is slowly drawing to a close. The light fades to a deep bruised purple. The orange needles of the gauges glow softly, casting a warm amber light across the dashboard. The world outside becomes a blur of shadows and silver mist, but inside the 993, everything is certain. It is a machine that demands nothing but appreciation, a quiet partner in a journey through the twilight. Eventually, the drive concludes in the stillness of a stone-walled garage. The engine is silenced, and in the sudden vacuum of sound, the car begins to speak in the language of cooling metal. Tink, tink, tink. The exhaust headers contract in the cooling air, a rhythmic percussion that marks the passage of time. The scent of warm machinery lingers, a comforting perfume of engineering excellence. You lean back against the wall, watching the moonlight reflect off the silver paint. The 993 rests now, a masterpiece of air and oil, a silent guardian of a golden age, perfectly still in the deepening night. The liquid horizon of the 996, the mist clings to the valley floor of the Swabian Alps like a soft grey blanket, muffling the world in a cocoon of silence. It is the dawn of a new era, a moment where the mechanical pulse of Zuffenhausen shifts its rhythm, moving from the frantic breath of air to the steady, cooling flow of liquid. Here, resting in the pre-dawn light, sits the Porsche 911 of the 996 generation. Its silhouette is a long, continuous stroke of silver ink against the charcoal sky, softer and more fluid than any that came before it. The air is cool and damp, carrying the faint, sweet scent of pine needles and wet pavement. There is no sound but the distant, rhythmic drip of condensation falling from the eaves of a nearby workshop. You approach the car, and the door handle meets your hand with a smooth, cool weight. The mechanism releases with a precise, metallic clicker sound of hidden depths and perfect tolerances. As you settle into the seat, the scent of high-grade leather, supple and aged like a favorite book, rises to meet you. The cabin is a sanctuary of curves. The dashboard flows in a singular, unbroken wave, mirroring the horizon that is just beginning to glow with a pale, amber light. You turn the key. There is no sudden jolt, no aggressive bark of combustion. Instead, the flat-six engine settles into a hum that is subterranean and resonant. For decades, the 911 breathed through fins and fans, a dry and raspy song. But now, there is a new element at play. Behind the cabin, within the intricate architecture of the engine block, a gentle tide of coolant begins to circulate. It is the sound of a mountain stream filtered through silk. The water moves through the radiators at the front, a hidden circulatory system that brings a newfound thermal peace to the machine. It is a steady, rhythmic, pulsed heartbeat of a gargantuan creature in a deep, restorative sleep. The car moves forward, gliding over the asphalt as if it were hovering just an inch above the ground. The steering is light yet communicative, a soft vibration that tells your fingertips about the texture of the road without ever disturbing your calm. You navigate a long, sweeping curve, and the 996 leans into it with the grace of a hawk caught in a thermal. There is no friction here, only flow. The suspension breathes with the undulations of the earth, absorbing every pebble and seam in the road, turning the journey into a continuous, liquid motion. The headlights, shaped like ripples on the surface of a still pond, cast a warm golden glow onto the retreating fog. The world outside is a blur of soft greens and muted grays, a landscape painted in watercolors. Inside the cabin, the amber glow of the instrument cluster is a steady companion. The needles move with a slow, deliberate dignity, tracking the harmony of the engine's internal temperatures and the gentle climb of the revs. You are not driving so much as you are participating in a quiet evolution, a transition from the mechanical staccato of the past to the fluid symphony of the present. As the sun begins to crest the distant hills, painting the edges of the clouds in shades of lavender and rose, you bring the car to a gentle halt by a quiet overlook. The engine sighs as you turn the key, a soft mechanical exhale that fades into the morning air. You sit for a moment in the deepening silence. The only sound is the faint, rhythmic tink-tink of the cooling metal, a metallic lullaby as the car settles into the earth. The liquid within the radiators remains still now, holding the warmth of the journey like a gathered memory. The silver skin of the 996 reflects the sky, a perfect mirror of the liquid horizon, peaceful, timeless, and profoundly at rest. Returning to form, the 997 Eru, the air in Zuffenhausen carries a particular stillness in the early hours of the morning, a quietude that seems to settle over the brick and glass of the Porsche factory like a soft, grey blanket. It was here, in the gentle transition of the mid-2000s, that a quiet revolution took place, returned to a form that felt less like a leap forward and more like a long-awaited homecoming. This was the birth of the 997, a silhouette that whispered of the past while breathing the refined air of the future. To look upon the 997 is to see the restoration of a legend's eyes. Gone were the experimental shapes of the previous decade, replaced by the classic luminous circles that had defined the 911 for generations. These headlights, clear and deep as mountain pools, sat nestled into fenders that curved with a rhythmic, organic grace. At twilight, when the sun dips below the jagged line of the Black Forest, these lamps cast a warm, steady glow, illuminating the asphalt with a soft focus that feels timeless. The body of the car widened ever so slightly, the rear wheel arches swelling like a deep breath held in contentment, giving the machine a stance of grounded, peaceful authority. Stepping inside the cabin of a 997 is an exercise in sensory grounding. There is a specific scent that greets you, a rich, muted harmony of high-grade leather, cool aluminum, and the faint, clean aroma of precision engineering. The seats, upholstered in supple, pebble-grained hide, cradled the body with a firm but gentle embrace. Your fingers find the gear lever, a cool weight of polished metal and stitched leather, or perhaps the smooth, tactile paddles of the PDK transmission, which arrived later in the era to turn gear changes into a seamless, liquid flow. The dashboard is a landscape of thoughtful geometry. The 5 circular dials sit in a perfect row, their needles resting at a steady 0, waiting for the soft hum of life. The lighting of the instruments is a pale, calming white, easy on the eyes as the world outside fades into the indigo of evening. There is no clutter here, only the deliberate placement of buttons that click with a soft, dampened resonance, a sound that speaks of quality and care. As the car moves through the winding ribbons of the German countryside, the experience is one of profound fluidity. The engine, the heart of the 911, does not roar. It hums with a deep, mechanical baritone, a steady cadence that vibrates gently through the soles of your feet. It is a flat sixth symphony played at a low, restful volume. The suspension breathes with the road, absorbing the undulations of the earth, as if the car were floating on a cushion of silk. Each turn is a slow, graceful arc, the steering wheel communicating the texture of the pavement with a delicate silver thread precision. In this era, the 911 became a sanctuary. Whether it was the Carrera with its understated elegance or the Targa with its expansive glass roof that invited the starlight into the cabin, the 997 offered a space of quiet reflection. Imagine driving through a tunnel of ancient pines, the scent of damp earth and needles drifting through the vents. The only sound, the rhythmic thrum-thrum of tires crossing the expansion joints of a bridge. The world outside slows down, the frantic pace of modern life buffered by layers of sound deadening, and the steady, reliable pulse of the machine. As the journey ends and the car is brought to a rest in a darkened garage, the evolution continues in silence. The metal begins to cool, producing a series of tiny, rhythmic pings, the ticking of the exhaust manifold as it contracts in the night air. It is the sound of a mechanical heart settling into sleep. The 997 stands there, a masterpiece of proportion and restraint, its round eyes reflecting the moonlight. It is a return to form, a celebration of the curve, and a testament to the beauty of a design that finally found its way back home. In the stillness of the garage, the 911 rests, a perfect intersection of history and peace. The 991 and the long wheelbase. The sun dips low over the rolling hills of Wysack, casting long amber shadows across the asphalt of the testing grounds. Here, in the quietude of the German twilight, the air is cool and carries the faint sweet scent of pine needles and damp earth. There is no roar of engines today, only the rhythmic ticking of metal cooling in the evening air and the soft whistle of a breeze moving through the trees. We find ourselves standing before a turning point in history, a moment where tradition met a new kind of grace, the arrival of the Porsche 911, Type 991.2. Look upon the 991 is to witness a subtle masterpiece of proportion. For decades, the 911 had been a compact, muscular creature, its wheels tucked tightly beneath its haunches. But here, the engineers sought a different kind of composure. They stretched the wheelbase by 100 millimeters, pulling the wheels toward the corners of the car's silver skin. This was not a change made for aggression, but for a profound, settled stability. The car stands longer, lower, and more purposeful, like a sleeper stretching out on a cool linen sheet, finding the perfect position of rest. As you run your hand along the flank of the car, the surface feels different. It is a seamless blend of high-strength steel and lightweight aluminum, cool to the touch and incredibly smooth. The panels join with a precision that feels organic, as if the car were carved from a single, moonlit block of alloy. The wider track gives the 991 a grounded presence, a sense of belonging to the earth beneath it. It does not fight the road. It cradles it. Step inside the cabin, and the world outside fades into a soft, distant memory. The door closes with a muted, mechanical thudder sound of absolute solidity. Inside, the 991 is a sanctuary of hushed intent. The scent of fine stitched leather rises to greet you, a rich and comforting aroma that suggests hours of patient craftsmanship. The center console rises gracefully to meet the dashboard, inspired by the serene layout of the Carrera GT, placing every control within a gentle reach. The instrument cluster glows with a soft, white light. The 5 circular dials remain, a steady heartbeat of heritage, but they are now accompanied by a high-resolution display that hums with quiet intelligence. There is a newfound space, a breath of air around the shoulders, a sense of openness that allows the mind to wander. The seats are firm yet yielding, upholstered in materials that feel soft against the skin, holding you in a gentle embrace. As the car begins to move, the evolution becomes truly silent. The 991 introduced electric power steering, a transition that smoothed away the frantic vibrations of the road, leaving only a fluid, glassy connection to the path ahead. The steering wheel moves with a weightless precision, like a finger tracing a line through still water. The engine, a refined flat 6 nestled deep within the rear, does not shout. Instead, it produces a low, melodic hum, a rhythmic vibration that resonates deep in the chest. Steady and reassuring as a distant tide, we glide out onto the winding ribbons of the Black Forest as night begins to settle. The long wheelbase transforms the journey, Where previous generations might have danced nervously over imperfections, the 991 flows. It ionizes the bumps, turning the undulations of the earth into a slow, rocking motion. The headlights cut through the gathering dark with a clean, cool intensity, illuminating the silver trunks of the beech trees and the soft moss at their feet. The wind whispers over the roofline, a soft sibilance that speaks of aerodynamic perfection. There is no turbulence, no struggle, only the sensation of moving through the atmosphere with total efficiency. The car feels long, stable, and infinitely calm. It is a machine that has found its equilibrium, balancing the fire of its heritage with the cool clarity of modern engineering. As the stars begin to peer through the canopy above, the 991 continues its steady, rhythmic pace. The world is at peace, and the car is a part of that peace. It is a silent evolution, a lengthening of the stride, a deepening of the breath. We travel onward, wrapped in the silver stillness of the 991, moving toward a horizon that is quiet, vast, and beautifully serene. The digital heart of the 992, the night air in Zuffenhausen, is cool and still, carrying the faint, clean scent of rain-washed pavement and distant pine. In the quiet heart of the Porsche workshop, the 992 generation of the 911 rests, its wide, muscular haunches catching the soft glow of the overhead amber lights. This is the digital heart, a moment in the long, storied lineage of the 911 where the mechanical soul of the past meets the silent, luminous intelligence of the future. To look upon the 992 is to see a silhouette that has been refined by the wind for decades. Its surface is smooth, like a stone polished by a river, with lines that flow uninterrupted from the rounded headlights to the singular, unbroken strip of red light that spans the rear. This light bar glows with a steady, peaceful intensity, a horizontal horizon that anchors the car to the earth. There is no urgency here, only the quiet confidence of a design that knows exactly what it is. As you open the door, there is a soft rhythmic click, the sound of precision, engineering meeting human touch. The interior is a sanctuary of textures. The scent of fine dark leather rises to meet you, a deep and grounding aroma that speaks of craftsmanship and time. You settle into the seat, which contours perfectly to the body, offering a sense of total security and calm. The cabin is hushed, insulated from the outside world by layers of advanced materials that turn the bustle of the city into a distant, fading whisper. Before you lies the dashboard, a masterpiece of the digital era that pays homage to the analog heritage of the 1970s. In the center, a single physical dial remains. Its needle rests at 0, a silver sliver against a dark face, a nod to the mechanical heartbeat that has defined the 911 since 1963. But surrounding this analog anchor are the twin high-definition screens of the digital era. They wake with a gentle, liquid shimmer, displaying a wealth of information in crisp, muted tones of white and gold. This is the silent evolution. The 992 does not just move through the world, it senses it. Hidden within the wheel arches are acoustic sensors, the ears of the car that listen for the delicate splash of water against the metal. This is the wet mode, a digital guardian that breathes with the driver, adjusting the car's temperament to ensure a journey that is always smooth, always rhythmic, and always safe. It is a form of mechanical empathy, a silent dialogue between the road, the computer, and the soul. As the engine hums to life, it is not a roar, but a deep, resonant vibration that settles in the chest like a purr. The flat-six engine, nestled low and far back, breathes with a steady cadence. The PDK gear selector, a small, tactile totem of brushed metal, slides into place with a muffled, satisfying engagement. The car begins to move, not with a jolt, but with a seamless transition from stillness to flow. The 992 glides through the evening. The digital display is casting a soft, cool light onto the driver's hands. Every movement is fluid. The steering is light, yet incredibly precise, responding to the slightest thought. Outside, the world passes by in a blur of soft shadows and street lamps, but inside the cabin, there is only the rhythmic sound of the tires meeting the road, a low-frequency hum that lulls the senses into a state of deep relaxation. In this modern era, the 911 has become more than a machine. It is a sophisticated environment of light and logic. The digital heart is not cold or distant. It is the quiet conductor of a complex symphony. As the journey nears its end and the car returns to the stillness of the garage, The screens dim slowly, like embers fading in a hearth. The cooling metal gives off a faint, rhythmic tink-tink, a final mechanical sigh as the 992 settles into sleep, its digital heart resting, ready to wake for the next quiet horizon. Legacy in the silent wind, the sun dips below the rolling crests of the Swabian Alps, casting a long amber glow across the brick and glass of Here, in the quiet heart of Stuttgart, the air is cool and carries the faint, clean scent of pine needles and damp earth. The day's industry has slowed to a rhythmic hum, a gentle pulse that mirrors the steady breathing of a city settling into its evening rest. In this modern era, the evolution of the Porsche 911 has reached a pinnacle of refinement, where power no longer needs to shout to be felt. It is the age of the silent wind, where the legacy of the past meets the whisper of the future. Inside the assembly hall, the atmosphere is one of a cathedral dedicated to precision. There is no clatter of heavy hammers or the harsh scent of raw fuel. Instead, there is the soft, melodic hiss of pneumatic tools and the graceful, near-silent dance of robotic arms, moving with the fluidity of a conductor's baton. The modern 911 rests upon its cradle, a sculpture of aluminum and steel caught in the soft overhead light. Its silhouette remains unmistakably a continuous, flowing curve that has survived the passage of decades, but its soul has grown quiet, deep, and immensely calm. As the car is guided toward the final inspection, the textures of the interior invite a sense of profound peace. The seats are wrapped in leather so supple it feels like a second skin, smelling faintly of a high-end library and sun-warmed meadows. The dashboard, a seamless blend of digital clarity and analog tradition, glows with a soft, dimmable light that does not strain the eyes. Every switch moves with a tactile, muted click, a testament to a world where every vibration has been smoothed away, leaving only the pure essence of the machine. Beyond the factory gates, a single 911 glides onto the darkened ribbon of the Autobahn, heading toward the Black Forest. In this modern iteration, the transition from the internal combustion engine to the electric-assisted drive is seamless, like a sleeper shifting positions in a dream. The once raucous clatter of the air-cooled flat six has evolved into a sophisticated, distant hummer, low-frequency vibration that feels more like a heartbeat than an explosion. When the car moves into its silent electric mode, the world transforms. The sound of the engine fades entirely, replaced by the soft shush of tires over smooth asphalt, and the gentle rush of air over the aerodynamically perfected mirrors. The car does not fight the wind, it converses with it. It slips through the night air with the grace of a predator in a deep forest, leaving nothing behind but a faint trail of disturbed leaves. The headlights, crystalline and steady, carve a path of soft white light through the mist, revealing the ancient trunks of the fir trees that line the road. Inside the cabin, the driver is cradled in a cocoon of stillness. The steering wheel is a steady, reassuring weight in the hands, transmitting the texture of the road, not as a jolt, but as a gentle, rhythmic massage. As the road climbs higher into the hills, the air grows thinner and colder, but the cabin remains a sanctuary of warmth. The heater breathes a soft, dry heat against the glass, keeping the world outside at a comfortable distance. There is no urgency here, no need for speed or conquest. There is only the steady, effortless surge of momentum, the feeling of being carried by a force as ancient and reliable as the tides. This is the legacy in the silent wind, a machine that has mastered the art of being present without being loud. It is the culmination of 70 years of thought, distilled into a single, quiet glide through the moonlight. As the car eventually slows to a halt at a high mountain overlook, the cooling metal makes a faint, melodic tink-tink sound, like tiny bells under the stars. The world is vast, the night is deep, and the 911 rests in the shadows, a silent guardian of a long and peaceful history.